Still cannot. Huh. Hi, can you guys hear me? No. Okay, cool. Uh, okay, cool. So this is my first time doing this, so maybe there will be some technical issue. Um, okay, what I'm going to do today is actually recently I found out there's a library called Redux, and I think it's really nice because I feel like many code in our Redux can be just replaced by these libraries. So what I'm going to do today is I will show you some example code, and then we will together we'll go through like how we refactor it. Okay. So now I'm going to share my screen. So can you guys see my screen? Okay, I guess you guys can see my screen now. So I will start with I'll start my application, but let us go to the Red Query repo first. So I'm going to briefly show you like what it is. So this Red Query is a hooks for you to fetch and catch data in React. So at the bottom they have a lot details which you can read it later on by yourself. But why I think like fetch and catch data it is a very useful libraries because in Redux we know many times we have a lot of code, right? We just write all the reducer, all the actions. Actually, for us, it's just to catch data. Because at the end of the day, for most application today, uh, front end is not source of truth. Most of the time, we have some API that we call to get the data, some API call to create the records, and then front end just display. And yeah, for Redux, we use Redux many times. It's just like, hey, let's say I load my this user screen. I want to get the data and save the data on front end, and then I go to another user, and then I come back. So many times when we come back, right, we want to straight away show the user data that we already loaded previously, and then in the meantime, when we load this screen, what we do is we make the API calls again. So you see, in this context, right, actually what the Redux do, like we use Redux, it's just for the sake of that catching purpose. Because we don't want to like people go to another screen and come back and they see a big spinner, which is not optimal. So Red Query it actually help us to do all those things for us without need to deal with so many codes. So now I'm going to show you the application. So this application is called Shopee. So it's a e-commerce application that I created for my workshop. So it has a home page, then you have a product page. So product page will make API calls, and then we can add to cart, right? So so the thing is now we go to this page again, you can see like, hey, the data is still there. Why? Because I used Redux to catch data. So then I can go to another screen, okay, and then I click into these details, then I need to wait a while. But if I go back, the data is straight away there because I already catch the data. So let's look at a little bit code here. So this is in my code is a product page. So this is my product page code. But before I proceed, let me see. Actually not sure if it can be used in React Native. But I give you an answer after this. Yeah, because technically it seems like there's nothing really special about it that is specific to the front end, because even it don't even provide it don't even make the API call for you. It's just a way for you to catch your data. Okay, so let's look at this product page. So this product page now there's, let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so this product page now when we onload component demarc, we load the details. Okay, so then you see here I have a now check if there's no details, only I load it. I call this load details, and then if a details is there, then I will show it. So what is my load details? So it is actually load details is actually dispatching a Redux tank, which will make the API calls and save the data in Redux store. Then after we save the Redux store, here details how we load it is we get it from our Redux store. Okay, so it's a very typical way of writing Redux code. Like you have a page, you have details, then you come to this page, you load the data, and then yeah, and then you come back here, then you try to get the data from the catch. Okay. So now we're going to replace it with this React query. How are we going to do that? So for React query, let us import React query. So the most basic use case is called use query. Okay, so here the code where we made the API call, instead of load query, I'm going to call, instead of like load details, I'm going to call this load query. So the load query first parameter is what they call the ID. So because now this is a product page, so my ID I will call it product. Okay, so ID is a list of array, and it can be a list of string, it can be some string, some number, or it can be object. It's up to you. So what this React query do is it will take the first parameter, and it will use it for it to identify, hey, is this the same thing or not? So because our each product we have different details, so I'm going to pass the product ID into my first parameter as well. So then the second parameter of us, the use query, is the fetch function. Okay. So the fetch function, what you will get is what you pass into the first parameter. So here we will get the key, second we will get product ID. Okay. And this is where you want to make your API calls. So so to make the API calls, I'm going to import my code, which is making the API calls, which is in modules product service, then get product. So this is a function that return me a promise. So I'm going to call get product and then pass in product ID. Okay, so this is how I use these hooks. And then let's just get all the result into parameter, and we'll console log the result. Okay. So now let me zoom in a bit. It's a bit small. So this result actually it has data, which is what our product details is, and then it also have status. Right now it's success. So so let's look at how it changed over time. In the beginning, our status is loading, but you see our data is undefined. Then after that, now our data is it has a product details. So let's say now I go to another product page. Okay. Uh, Let me create some separator here. Okay. Let me go to another product page. So when we go to another product page, so it's the same. It Oh no. Yeah, it's okay. That's weird. So now okay, let me refresh it. Okay, so now this our product is product ID 2005, right? So in the beginning, you see it is loading. Then after that, we get the product details, which is undefined in the beginning. At the end, it is here 2005, ID 2005. Now I go to another one. So now I have another one. This is product ID 2009. Okay. So now I clear it, right? I go back to the previous page. Okay. So you see when I come to this page again, when it first load, right, the data is already there. So this is what this React query doing for us, which means you go to different page, it will you more your component is fine because it will save your data into its cache, and then next time you go to call with the same ID, it will straight away load it. Okay. So now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to actually replace the Redux code with this React query, because now this result is actually what our previous details is. So I'm going to structure it. So with that, right, I doesn't need the details parameter from Redux anymore. Similarly, I also doesn't need the use effect, all those things anymore, because this is what the React query actually helped me to do. So all this I can just delete it. Okay. And then now the details will pass down to here, and then it will use it to render. So let me just save it. So I'm going to refresh the page again. Okay, now it loads. I go to another page, then it load again. But if I go back, boom, the data is straight away there. So now you see, by just using a single function, I actually achieve what I have achieved previously, which is I need to add a reducer, I need to do all dispatch a tongue, and then I need to map the states to props. Okay, so to really show you the difference, I'm going to remove the Redux code from here, because now we remove all the props, we no longer need them. So at the bottom, our map state details, this is not needed. Right. Our add to cart, we still need. Load details is no longer needed, so I can remove it. And then all the things I don't need can be removed as well. So just to make sure everything still works, I refresh. And then go to the next page and then come back. Okay, it still works. Okay. So before I answer, let us just look at the look at the difference. So I'm going to show you the difference. So on the left is what was previously our code. So we need to map all the states, all the props from Redux, and then we need to dispatch it when its use effect happen. Now we call a function, and then at the bottom, all the map states to prop is removed, right? All the dispatch tongue also removed. So we are just left with this. Okay. The cool thing is not just about this component. You imagine like all your reducer, all your actions that is actually used for the catch purpose, it can just all remove. Yeah, so this is why I think Ray query is very useful. So so now there's a channel, there's a question on the channel asks what if you don't want to catch? Well, actually, to answer that, if you don't want to catch, you don't have to use direct query, because you can just use the simple Redux state and then a use effect, right? You can just like in effect, then make the API calls, and after use that state, then your component are marked, the state will be gone. Yeah, this is the no don't catch purpose. But many times when we load all those data from backend, right, many times we want to catch it because you doesn't want people navigate here, navigate there, they see a blank screen. You want some nice data, then in the meantime you refresh from on the background. So this is what React Query out of the box do for you. So if you guys have any question, you can just ask me, because I to be honest, I haven't used React Query in production yet, but I think I will be if I have opportunity. Yeah, but I just think it's cool that it's very cool that I want to share. Then maybe you guys can give comment or concern. So just now what we do is we do in our product page, and then we make the API calls. But actually from here I can see, right, let's say I have another page that want to use exactly the same details, right? So if we hard code here the product, then another page maybe they put differently, then it'll be a bit like it's very error prone. So I think just like we have we abstract away all our API service call, I think for these queries we can also abstract it away. So now I want to do a little bit of refactoring. So in modules products, now we have product service. Let me create a new file, product.queries.js. So what I'm going to do is this code here, I'm going to move there. So I'm going to call it use product, and then I'm going to return this, and then it should accept product ID. Okay. So we are import React query, use query, import get product. Yeah, so now we put in the one place, and so in our product page, instead of manually call the service, we're going to just call this use product. Okay, so there are a few questions. Let me just address the question first before I proceed. So first question is when it shows the catch data, does it get the latest data again at the same time? So the answer is yes. So every time you component mark again, it will show what has been catched. In the meantime, you make another API calls to make sure the latest is loaded, which is a very common things we already do, because many times you're not really sure, like after you catch, right, whether someone else go to make some operation on the server side. Then second question is how to refresh the catch data. This one I will show you an example later. Then the third one is GraphQL also have catching, right? So this is more for normal REST stuff. So to be honest, I don't really do a lot. I don't really have experience in GraphQL in production, but as far as I know, you can actually use this with GraphQL as well, because use the red query don't make API call, don't make API call for you. Instead, you need to define how you get the data and you return a promise to it. Because you see, in my use my product queries, so you can see here, I call get product, and inside the get product is my API calls. Okay, so the React query itself doesn't make the API call. So in here you can do whatever you want, as long as you return a promise which will resolve to the data. So you can put GraphQL here as well. So similarly to the last question you asked about, does it support any other methods or not? The answer is definitely yes, because this get product, now I make a get call, but of course I can also make a post call as well. So that will be the next the third example I'm going to show you. But before I do that, I actually want to use I want to refactor another component which also do the same thing, which is getting the product details. So to show you what I'm trying to do is now we make this page, right? You can see on the right here, we actually making 4 API calls. First, we make the first API calls to load the product of this page, and then after that, we make 3 more API calls. These 2 is the details of these 2 small cards, and the last one is the comments of this product. So here we are actually making exactly the same API calls. So this is what I want to refactor now. So we can inspect this component, and then this component is product box. Product box. Okay, product box container. So look at this product box container. We have exactly the same code like just now, right? We load details, then we show it. And then here we do the dispatch and match state to prompt. So now life is much easier. I can just import it from product queries, use product, and then use product ID, data, product details. So I don't need this anymore. Okay, so now we load this, and then when we click to the next one, the data here is straight away loaded. Okay, to prove my point, I'm going to slow down the network. Then you can see. So I'm going to put regular 3G. So when I click next, you see when I click next, the data here is straight away show, because when it is on the first page, because at the bottom it use the same query, it have exactly the same ID, that's why the React query know, hey, these two are the same thing, so it can straight away return the catch data. Okay. So similarly, I also want to remove all the code is not needed anymore. We don't need this at all. We can just replace the whole thing with this. Yay! All Redux is gone from this component. Yeah. So everything seems good now. Yeah, so regarding the question, so you can use any library? Yes, the answer is yes. You can use exhaust, you can use fetch. It's really up to you. So now I want to show you like how to manually refresh the data, as well as how to make the post calls. But before that, I want to show you something. I think is a very this React query do something is like we don't do it in Redux even, but it is actually something we should be concerned about. So one thing what it does, right, is the catching what React query help you to do is it actually keep track of when your data is refreshed last time. So by default, it will keep your data for 5 minutes. So your component, after your component amount, right, if no more component using the same data within 5 minutes, the React query will actually like clear the cache. So because you know your application, your user can keep the browser open for many hours. So if you don't clear those cache as the time goes, then you have a memory problem. So this is the things that in Redux you can do it, but it means even more code, right? You need to save like when is this data being last updated, and then you need to manually do something like set timeout 5 minutes. So I think this is very nice for React query. It actually even handle this for you. So another thing when I trying to do this, it actually made me think, hey, okay, it actually made me think, hey, now every time our page load unload, I actually refresh the page. Can I do something like if I refresh a page within like I switch page within like 5 seconds, don't fetch a new data. At least like give me some time. After 5 seconds only, I consider I need to fetch the data. So React query also have this functionality. So we can go to its docs again. So there is a catch time. So yeah, so we can actually set the catch time. So we can actually set the catch time by using, it has a like global setting. It's called React Query Provider. So that's what I'm going to do in my page, in my index.js. So I'm going to import React Query, and I'm going to React Query Provider. So here I'm going to pass down a config, and then I'll set catch time 5 seconds. So now let me, okay. So now I load this page, I go to next page, and then I come back. I go. So you see now I come back here, right? It doesn't make the API calls again. Why? Because it's within 5 seconds. So if you're within 5 seconds for because this time I set 5 seconds. So React will know, hey, this thing I just fetch it within 5 seconds. So don't refresh. So you can have very granular control of like how frequent you want to like catch data, which like, yeah, in in Redux, it's kind of painful if you want to write this kind of code. Okay, so now there's two questions on the channel. First is how do you handle loading state? So we can go back to our product page. So here, our return of use query, it return data. It also actually return status. So status, it can be like loading. It can be loading. It can be error. That's how we can know. So I can just let me just save, and you can see the status on the page. So at the top left here, you can see the status. So let me refresh. So in the beginning, it's loading, then it becomes success, right? So go to another page, loading, success. Okay, so this is how you handle loading state. So it's very common use case lah. So it actually provide this for you. Then the next question is if the latest data is fetched and replacing the current data, will it result in some kind of flash effect? So the answer for that is yes, but this is very common pattern in many applications today. You show the catch data, and then after that, then you replace it. The so far so far, the only way for us to prevent that is actually you have to wait for the React, concurrent React, because concurrent React they have the features of you go to next page makes an API calls. Let's wait for the API calls to come back first before you navigate to that page. Then if you there, you have a very good user experience where you don't have a flash of content. But in the meantime, this is the best we can do already. Yeah. So now so far I show you like how to just get the data. The next thing what I'm going to show you is how to make make a post request to create something and then force refresh some data. Okay. So the part of I'm going to do it is at the bottom part here we have a comment, so I can actually add my comment here. Oh, then hello. Right. Oh yeah, one thing I forget. Maybe I should just give you guys the link so you can go play with it. If you want. Yeah, so now we go to the comment part. So the comment part is at the bottom here we have product comments. Okay. So product comments. So product comments here, you can see we have the same thing again, right? We have a map state to prod, we load comments, and then we get the comments, and then after that we map dispatch, we load comments, we dispatch a tongue with API calls and load. So it's always the same pattern. So similarly, I'm going to abstract this away, the get comments. So I'm going to go to my product queries. So I have product comments, and I'm going to export use product comments product ID return use query. Okay, so now this one, because product comment, well, I just call it product comment, and then key product ID get product comments product ID. And then we can go to our product comments, and I'm going to replace all this with use product comments. I pass down product ID, and then I have status, then I have data. Okay, so its loading will be when status equal to loading. Wait. Product queries, use product comments. And then data, it is our comments. So I can remove this product ID from the parents, and then should be able to load this. And I get an error, comment is undefined. Let me refresh first. Oops, something goes wrong. Use product comment, get product comment. I have to check the API calls. Oh yeah, I know why. Because in the data first, when it first come, it is undefined. Then after that, only it will become an array. So I should do a now check here. Comments. Yeah, so the product comment is loading. Then we have another page of product comment. We go to previous page, product comment is showing. Okay. So yeah, now I haven't do something special yet. It's still the same like just now. But now we need to go to product comment form, because product comment form is where we start making API calls, right? So let's go to product comment form, which is here. And here we made the API calls. We submit form, blah, 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 doing all this thing. So now, similarly for this, what we're going to do is we want to abstract away with Redux queries. So Redux queries have this another hook is called use mutation. So I'm going to export use add product comment. I will return use mutation. Okay. So use mutation is going to accept a function. So let us just see what is the product service for to add create product comment. Okay, create product comment. So we're going to create product comment. Okay. So what we want to do is this will actually return you some function for you to make the API calls. But what we want is also when the data come back, we want to refresh another data, because we know this product comment, after we make the post to it, it should refresh the product comment. So it has a second parameter which you can do to like say what you want to do. So here we on success, we want to refresh this product comment of the product ID. So what we're going to do here is I will accept a parameter called product ID. And here when on success, we want to refresh this catch. So React Query actually expose the catch for you. So you can do like query catch, refresh queries, and then you pass down this key. So here the key is product comment product ID. Okay, so this use add product command would, after it call this use mutation successful, then it will say, hey, this catch is no longer valid. Go to refetch it. So we can now go back to our product command here. Product command, no, we want product command form. Product command form. Okay, so here similarly, I'm going to import from product queries, use add product comments. So I'll use add product comments. I need to pass down the product ID. And then the first parameter of it is called mutation. Mutate is a function. Okay. Then second, you should be able to get some status. Oh, I have to actually look at the docs. Use mutation. Yeah, so use mutation passes you a mutate function, and then after the status data error. So we're going to get the status here. Okay. So here previously when we submit, we're going to set submitting is true, then call this all this thing. Now we don't need all this anymore. So instead of like call submit form tank, we're going to just call mutate. Okay. And then also those submitting those data fetching status, we no need to manage them anymore because it's going to be managed by the Red query. So just take it out. Instead, we will just rewrite from it. So submitting when status is, what is the value of status again? Status, I think it's loading. Use product, use add product command. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. I hope it works. So now let me add another. What is this? Okay. So ta-da! So it works. So to walk through again how it works is we have a use mutation, okay, which is actually we pass it a function that will make this post call. So after this post call successful, then we use our on success callback inside our use mutation second parameter to tell Red query, hey, this product command product ID is already updated. So go to refresh it. So yeah, so now with this, again, you see we can remove code again. I don't need submit form anymore. So this map dispatch can be gone. Okay. Then it's much cleaner and simpler now. Okay, so let me see what other questions. So a question, let's say you need to show the user's name in every page. You will still put that in something like Redux context. Red query is just a catching solution, not a global state one. So regarding this question, yes, the answer is yes. Red query shouldn't use for I don't think you should use it for like authentication, which you want to have very granular control. For me, the perfect use case for Red query is for you to fetch those business data that you don't really need to very granular control, because many times you just, hey, get it and display, catch it. So I think those are the things you use for React query for, which I think is like, it's like I would say like more than half of my Redux code is about all this, like catching data. So yeah, I feel like you can really it's very handy lah. But for authorization, yes, those you should still put in Redux or in context. So I think I will not continue because it's 40 minutes plus. but I think what you have in mind, you may have think, hey, with this direct query, do we still need Redux? Oh, this is a very weird. People don't ask me a simple quick question, but yeah. So for me, I think it depends on how many logic you want to like being driven in your client side. So for example, in one of my previous company, what we do is we will fetch a list of stocks, and then the customer they can add stocks, and then and from front end we want to like straight away reflect the stock quantity. So for those you have a very heavy front end relationships, I think it's still fine that you put those in Redux. But if you don't have those like very heavy front end, you just like making API calls and catch it. Yeah, I think React query would actually solve most of the problem. So this is the first question, whether we still need to use Redux or not. Another thing is you may also ask the question of, hey, this React, this React query expose a catch globally. When I first see, I'm also like, yeah, what the hell? This seems like so dirty. Because now we always like, hey, we put things in context, we put things in and some kind of mechanism instead of like we having a global catch that's shared by all the components. But if you think one level deeper, you will realize actually it makes sense. Because why? Because you may think, hey, it is global, but the thing is, right, your front end application, you're also making a call with a server, which is only like kind of global for our front end application. So yeah, it makes sense that the catch is global because technically your server also have one only, right? It is fine that they make the assumption that you don't need multiple servers. You can't have like one level of your application calling server A, and the level you need your own server. Yeah, it just like doesn't make sense. So I think that's all what I prepare. Is there anything else you guys want to ask or see? So there's some delay about uh what I do and what you see. It's around 8 seconds. Okay. If there's nothing, then I think that's all for today. Thank you. So talk to you next time. Bye bye.